Hey everyone, Eric with OzoneTCG. Today we have Peter with his deck profile. Peter, what did you do over the weekend?
I topped the two case tournaments I played in with a combined record of 10 1-1, playing Bystial, Danger, Tearlaments.
Awesome. Any shout outs you want to give before we get into the profile?
Yeah, first and biggest one is to OzoneTCG. Lyric and Zohair at the YCS made top 32 and top 16 respectively. Incredibly proud of those guys for putting in that performance. Also, Sean Washington on OzoneTCG for showing me the High Spirits Cartesia combo for this variant, which was just fantastic over the entire weekend. Everybody in my Discord, Manny for yelling at me a lot, Gabe for being Mr. Sunshine, and yeah, and Eric for recording.
Perfect. Awesome. Let's go ahead and get into the main deck.
Okay, so most of this is going to look pretty normal. 3 Rhinoheart, 3 Sharon, 3 Havness, 3 Merly. We're always going to max these. They're just fantastic. I'm going to draw them, mill them. I still played the 5 good dangers. These are just excellent. When you're playing with the high spirits combo, you often want just a body to link with that is not Karua because you're synchro summoning with it. So these just come in, and also just milling Nessie is excellent because it gives you better card economy by using it to make Kalos because it's Aqua. And then the millable extender was Zephyros. I played 3 Magma Nut and the 1 Druis Worm as both extenders and a form of defense. These cards are fantastic and incredibly pushed, especially Dark is the most represented attribute in Yu-Gi-Oh! And it definitely shows in how much these come up. Not just against Tier, where they're obviously at their highest, but hit different cards all across the weekend. Ray against Sky Striker, Splight monsters, so it's had a lot of utility. I'm just glad I played them. Then the 2 cards for Brandon High Spirits, the Red Cartesia, the Virtuous, and the Albion the Shrouded Dragon. This is just nice because she doesn't put herself back in the deck, but this does, so you can always keep the quick play alive. Spells, 3 Proto Rhino, 3 Dark Roller for the defense. This came in over the Super Poly. I expected people to not play into Super Poly anymore. Turns out I gave everybody at these case tournaments a little bit too much credit. Super Poly would have been excellent. People were not respecting it and going for things like Rogue Kalos and Abyss Dweller. So this was still good though. Hit a lot of Splight boards and just other stuff with this. Just happy to have it. 3 Branded High Spirits. It's fine away the best extender in the deck now. Triggering a tier. Sending the Rogue Kalos, fusing, getting the Cartesia for the high value play that leads into Barone is just very hard to beat. It's a Nastic Tournament setup. And then rest of the spells. 2 copies of Tearlaments Scream, the new card from Darkmoon Blast. I was on one of this for Saturday and ended up bumping it up. This is just fantastic. It's kind of unassuming for a card to spend it just to mill 3 and shrink attack points, but the reality is you do this multiple times, at least twice over a turn cycle between the players, and the attack shrink actually starts to matter a lot because this with the field spell, you got a 1,000-point attack differential across your board, and it actually starts becoming very important, especially in the mirror match. So happy I played this, and also the trap card access. And the last 2 cards, just Terraforming and Instant Fusion, of course. 3 trap cards, 2 Suliak, and the 1 high rate draw as the Mystic Mine Out / interactive card. This was actually incredibly fantastic over the weekend. I didn't see a single Mystic Mine, but just milling this for the interactive possibilities with popping Tears, popping Kaleido Heart, killing your monsters to dodge targeting effects. This won me a lot of games just by text on the card. So very happy I played that as the Mine Out.
How often did the Albion? Sorry, how often did the Albion send to graveyard summon Cartesia from the hand come up, if it came up at all?
Unfortunately, I never got that lucky to just mill the Albion and make this free. That didn't. I think I summoned this once actually from hand by pitching a branded card out of my hand. So that was cool. Just swinging right for the body.
Awesome. Onto the extra deck.
That. Yep, extra decks. So start with the links. Access code, Griffin, Curious, Dark, Elf, Sprind. Access is just kind of the big whatever, just a monster with attack points to reduce my opponent's life points to 0. This could be interchangeable with Borreload, Underworld Goddess, anything really. Grantmere Griffin, I do have the Eradicator in my side deck, and this is also an incredibly oppressive card against the Mirror and Splight. Having them to commit to links before actually playing, and then to get over this is very good. And the Eradicator did come up this weekend several times, so I was glad I included this. Curious, between the Bystials and the Dangers, this is still extremely summonable, and it's just excellent utility. Dark Charmer, Elf, Sprind, not actually a Splight card, it's a Tearlaments card, don't let me tell you otherwise. This comes up a hell of a lot, mostly because of the Dark Charmer, just Dark, revive anything, and then make this. It's also important to change your sequencing now so that Merly is ideally the last tier element you want to use because this is so accessible.
Yes, absolutely.
Yep, happily all of these. One Synchro, one Xyz, Barone, which is very summonable with thanks to every time you have High Spirits or the Cartesia. And actually puts a lot of utility with this deck by either destroying your own Screams, your own Sully X, your own Kaleido Heart to send a Scream and get another trap card. I did that a lot. You double trap opening very frequently inside of games, and it's just fantastic. Dweller ruins the mirror match and some other decks. I just have to play it. And then for the 7 fusions, Garura, Mud Dragon. Even in the absence of Super Poly, this card is still excellent. It is quite a mirror breaker, especially if it becomes off instant fusion. Kaleido, Drake's Pelio, Roll Kalos, and the 2 Kit Kalos. The rest of this is fairly standard. And then finally the side deck. So 3 Reaper, Talents last, and 1 Aramage Laurel. This is what happens when your Ladybug doesn't come in the mail on time. It gains 500 when it's milled. Functionally identical, except you could lose to a Ladybug, so just strictly worse card, but did the job. Came a couple times. Cherries, principally for the mirror match, and also Splight variants to take their 3 elves. The mirror got a lot more difficult with Roll Kalos coming out to blank Nibiru, and the High Spirits line being known to produce Barone so much more often. So you kind of need to do something to minimize their game state before they have the cards that just shut off Nibiru or the Bystials or anything. This can lose to High Spirits, but outside of that, it is quite excellent. Even if they do have High Spirits, you can take the Dweller, so you remove the auto win condition, especially if you get it when they've committed overly to something of 2/4s, and you get a more playable game state out of it, especially if you have it with Bystials or something. So I was happy I played this. It was quite good. The rest, 3 Lightning Storm, 3 Evenly. I still was playing Evenly for tier, and then just has overlap against other non-real decks. It does have a fail rate. Barone will just ice this cold if people are smart enough to play the counter trap either main or side. So it's just has potential against their less than ideal hands. So it was fine. Lightning Storm came in over the Cosmics. Realized thanks to actually the JRB Jobber deck profile from the 3v3 YCS that Runic Splight cannot defend its Fountain and back row with Hugin because they will have an elf in their extra monster zone or some other link. So this is actually fantastic against them. Blowing out the field and any set smashers or the new double cross is just a great way to make that game way more playable. Was glad I had this, and also this is my favorite card against Flunderies. 2 more traps, Eradicator and Crime. This is extremely necessary, I believe. Everyone is on evenly matched to try to counter this deck going wide, and this is just the best way to get around it. You can very easily get the 2 traps with 2 or more Screams. I probably would play a 3rd Scream, finding space somehow. And the Eradicator was out of mostly respect for Runic, which I did play against 2 of them over the weekend, and then I actually hit it against the Sky Striker, which was fantastic for 5 cards in the middle of the game too. The links in this deck are pretty open and flexible in the flex spots. Like I have 2 link 4s you saw in there. So this can be any number of things. There could be better cards, but this just off Griffin to tag spell heavy strategies was very good. I was happy I did it. The last 3 cards changed over the weekend. They were talents for Sunday. On Saturday, they were Drolls. The Drolls were awful. Droll is not good against this deck, mostly because of High Spirits. So I definitely do not recommend that. I was worried about possible Degenerate decks, combo stuff, Dragon Link, or the Pendulum deck. Just not worth worrying about. So these needed to be a card I could side in going first when the Dark Rulers are coming out, or if I need to take out the Bystials because they're not matchup applicable. Landed on this just as sort of a 2 a.m. brainchild. Wasn't bad, resulted maybe a couple of times. This will have to be something better and more targeted for the mirror match since Evenly is not resolving against Barone, so that needs to be worked on. And that was about it.
Moving forward, would you change anything besides the talents? Would you change anything in the main deck or the extra deck?
Evenly might have to come out because now that's a high roll card. Your opponent there's 3 copies of High Spirits and the 1 Cartesia. That's in the 40% range to just have a Barone that's going to ice this. And then again, everyone is on Crime to respect this. So there may need to be cards that have relevant effects before those come into play, similar to how the Troll and the Talents interacted. So another card that can hit them with the window where Reaper does. That may need to change. I probably do want to play a third copy of Scream. Scream was just so good over the weekend, especially against anyone who's playing conventional, like hand trap or any kind of like fair deck to try to slow you down. They can't keep up with Scream. You are going to hit, and you're just gonna run them over. And then that was about it. Oh, there's idea to play a the Baguska in the extra deck, or even a Floodgate in the side deck to respect the shifter decks. Flunderies just made the finals of the YCS, so there's concern that for a lack of a card to deal with those decks better. So that's another possibility. Those changes I would make.
All right, perfect. Well, congratulations. Do you remember your matchups from the weekend?
Not all of them. Several tier mirrors, many of which I won, except for where Dweller happened. Dweller's just quite awful. The loss was to the loss was to that. The draw was also I believe so. A lot of that sprite variance, which this deck runs over pretty handily. The danger cards in the Bystials just play into that so well. They really cannot keep up. Some rogue decks that are just inevitably worse than what this engine does, so they just lose. Some meta, some offbeat stuff. But mostly things I was prepared for, or things that, Lightning Storm and Evenly were sort of decimated.
Perfect. Awesome. Thank you so much. Congratulations on the Double K's tournaments, and hope to see you again very soon.
Thank you very much.